What do you get when you take a massive bong rip, go to bed, and have fever dreams about dinosaurs? You get the end of Oak Street. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, to Kota's Cove. So today, we are going to talk about a movie that I don't even really know how to explain what I just experienced in theater. A buddy of mine who works at the theater I like to frequent asked me, "What did you think of the movie? What is the movie about?" And the best way I could explain what the end of Oak Street is, it is like The Mist meets Jurassic Park sprinkled with multiple genres of movies. Right off rip, I have to say this movie kind of suffers from identity theft. I couldn't tell you what the directors wanted this movie to be. The marketing for this movie was giving us vibes that this was going to be a straight survival horror with dinosaurs. There is that aspect, but man, there is a lot of stuff thrown at the wall seeing what sticks in this movie, and you can never get a feel of what this movie's really about. So let's start off with the quick plot. So we are dealing with a family that is led by Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor in the 80s, and all of a sudden some type of phenomenon happens where their neighborhood is transported back to times of dinosaurs. And to start off this movie, the setup in this movie had me all over the place. Could not get a feel for what this was. I felt led astray from the marketing and the one teaser I did see of this movie because I thought we were getting a survival horror with dinos. And it's not like that. The buildup, this movie at first feels very reminiscent of something like The Sandlot, some type of movie like that. The vibe they're going for, like we're following Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor's kids in their neighborhood. There's a big like block party going on. Everybody's having fun. Ewan McGregor's going and taking an extra shift at work. And him and Anne Hathaway's relationship in this movie is very strained. You can tell that they probably want to divorce each other from the interactions they're having. The kids are starting to notice it. Anne Hathaway says that the son's starting to act out. And Ewan McGregor, his character in this movie is he's always glass half full type of person. It's like almost over the top, and he doesn't think anything's wrong. He doesn't notice anything. And the buildup we have at the beginning before we get eventually to our main plot, it threw me off. I did not know what movie we were in. It feels kid friendly, fun, like a partner buddy tag along movie. We have old themes in here from like bullying, and the son of Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor has to go and hide because he played a prank on some kid. He accidentally broke his arm by throwing a stick in his bicycle wheel spokes, and it didn't feel horror at all. And then we eventually get our event that leads to, dinosaurs coming about in this neighborhood. And the lead up to the dinosaurs was kind of cool. This is where we start sneaking into the horror elements of this film. So we'll go ahead and this is going to be a mixed bag review for me. So let's just go ahead and jump into our hidden treasure segment about the end of Oak Street. So to start off, the good. Anne Hathaway, another movie where she gives her all. She tries to help elevate the film. Her acting's very good in the film. But that's not a very big bar because the characters in this movie, Anne Hathaway is truly the only character. Everybody else just feels like they're thrown in there. Even Ewan McGregor, his character, there's like no development with anybody in this film besides Anne Hathaway. Her relationship with Ewan McGregor is strained, and they make it a point in this movie multiple times where she is complaining to her husband that, like, I want you to start telling me the truth. Just tell me stuff. Communicate with me. They lead up to this a lot in the film. There's no payoff with Ewan McGregor or this plot point at all at the film. It's almost like it gets evaporated and forgotten about, even though they spend so much attention to detail on it. So yes, Anne Hathaway is a plus in this film. She is our lead protagonist, and she does a good job with what she's given. As far as that's really the only character we have in the film. Everybody else is just in there. You could just put anybody in there. My next hidden treasure is, thankfully, the dinos look very cool in this movie, and they sound really good. We have, I believe, what are raptors in this movie that actually have feathers, because there's a lot of scientific belief from research that raptors actually had feathers. They look pretty terrifying in this movie. The way they come about being seen by Anne Hathaway and her family for the first time was done pretty well. It was pretty cool. Like the first instance of us seeing what is going on in the neighborhood after this big event happens. Everybody thinks it's a storm. The lead up to it kind of felt something like you would have seen in a Dino Crisis / Resident Evil game. Anne Hathaway goes over to a friend, neighbor's house to check on her, make sure she's doing okay. Doesn't know what happened, stumbles upon a dead body. You just kind of see track marks throughout the house, claw marks, and Anne Hathaway's like, I don't know what's going on. So I thought that was a cool lead up to the dinos, and overall, the dinosaur scenes in here, they look pretty good. There is some not great looking CGI in other scenes, but that's not for the dinos itself. It's more of like the background and the environment where it's like, ew, that didn't look great. Overall though, dinos look cool, acted cool, was happy with it. What's also very cool about the dinosaurs is that there is multiple species of dinosaurs, also including some other animals from like the Jurassic period, like giant snakes. And I believe, I don't know if this is scientifically true, but Titanoboa or something like that makes an appearance in here quite a bit. It's pretty cool to see. Some of the dinos in here, I gotta say, had much more screen time than let's say a certain dino from a certain Jurassic movie that was marketed to be our big bad and only shows up for 5 minutes. And with the dinosaurs, we had some pretty cool chase scenes. What I really like about this movie, I was afraid there was going to be some ripoffs from the Jurassic franchise, and they didn't really go that route. There's one scene in particular where our main family is being stalked by, I believe, an Allosaurus or something like that. And they didn't do the thing where you were expecting, them to hear tremors, see something shaking from, the impact of the foot when the foot strikes the ground. No, this Allosaurus is just stalking them in between these houses while they're talking. And it was very well done. Like these dinos and the snake and all these predators surrounding these people aren't just loud. They showcase them stalking and being hunters. And it was done pretty cool and kind of creepy. But also kind of makes you realize that a lot of characters in this movie, even our main family that we're focused on, bunch of idiots running around this place. I don't know how anybody survived because, for one, they showcase that there is danger lurking around every turn. You can't be safe anywhere in this neighborhood. All of a sudden, they take a break out in the open, just talking out loud amongst themselves. There's like a group of 6 of them at this point. Nobody's standing guard to look around. We just gotta wait until like this dino's like within biting distance and somebody realizes, hey, we should probably split up. So it's a positive because some of the chase scenes and all the stuff with the dinosaurs was cool, but also kind of showcased some of the lackluster moments of this film. And with this film, there's a lot of deaths. Now, this movie is PG-13, so you don't get to see like the totality of the deaths and see all the gruesome elements that comes with these animals, attacking people, eating people, and all that. But they are pretty satisfying. There's a lot of them. There's carnage all over the place. There's one scene in particular with a neighbor trying to shoot down some, they're not really pterodons. I don't know what type of flying dinosaur they were. And man, it gets a little rough. And they pan away and they come back, and then just the aftermath of the carnage that happens to that, you're like, whoa, it leaves a lot to the imagination. So I thought that was very well done as well. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, folks. Might be a hot take. I don't care. I enjoyed this movie more than I did watching Jurassic World Rebirth. So that's my last hidden treasure that I have for this film. This movie is actually better than Jurassic World Rebirth. I don't care. I'm sure that's going to be a controversial topic. A lot of people aren't going to like that. It's going to push their buttons. I don't care. I said what I said. I said it with my chest. Now, moving on to our shipwreck section. I can understand there is going to be a large majority of people that think this film is trash. I get it. I can see your point. I understand, because I will say this is not a good film. So let's go in, talk about some of my shipwrecks. And the first one is obvious for me. I said at the beginning of this film, I don't know what this film is. If somebody were to ask me what style of film it is, I couldn't tell you. We have elements of horror, survival horror, and then there's constant elements of like family drama being thrown in. We have comedy in this movie, and it's almost James Gunn like, where We have scenes we're supposed to take serious, but they're funny and you're laughing and you shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense, and it consistently throughout the film just switches up the tone of this movie, and you're like, I don't know what you're going for in here. What was the purpose of this film? So that was a big con for me because, like I said, the marketing team marketed this, the one teaser that I saw, as this felt like it was going to be a horror movie, kind of like a mystery, like how did this happen? And that's one thing that does not get explored in all of this movie, really, is how this situation happened, or diving deeper into the mystery of what happened. We have this one very out of nowhere scene where the family's just sitting down talking about what happened, or why the neighborhood is, back in like a Jurassic period. And all of a sudden, they're just talking like scientists. Like the daughter comes up and it's just like, whoa, where did you all get this information from? How did you guys come to that conclusion? Because up until this point, none of you look like you had a PhD. You all sound like idiots a lot of times. And then all of a sudden, it's like they have this family sit down and like, bam, they're all just Einstein. It's like, where did that come from? Threw me off. And also with that, it's a little bit of a nitpick. Some of the shots in this movie are weird. The scene I was just talking about in particular, where the family's having a sit-down discussion about what's happening, what their plan should be to survive. Camera shots they're funky, man. We have somebody will be talking and you'll have, say, like Ewan McGregor's face really close up to the camera, but it's more so focused on the person. But I don't know how to explain it, man. It's very odd. I guess it was an attempt to make you feel more immersed, like you're sitting beside the family and like you're having this discussion with them. But it was very distracting, I would say. It was hard to focus. And then just along with the dialogue, where all of a sudden these people are just geniuses and could figure out all this stuff. Very odd choice. Wasn't a fan of that. Another shipwreck for me is the fact that Anne Hathaway is pretty much the only character in this film. Everybody else could just be thrown in. It doesn't matter. Ewan McGregor is so over the top positive in this film with all the bad stuff going around him. It's kind of not believable at all. I was kind of hoping they would have dove more into this storyline that they were, really focusing on, about Anne Hathaway wanting him to open up and communicate with her more, because there's some stuff that goes on in his life that he's hiding from his family, trying to hold his family together. And it's like, would have been a very good character arc had they focused on it a little bit more. But the reason they can't really focus on it is because this movie is only about a 90-minute runtime. So I did miss a part. This is what I would say will be like a small hidden treasure for me, is the runtime of this movie. Because 90 minutes, it was fine. If it was any longer, I probably would have been getting the urge to want to leave, because it's not that good of a film to hold you for longer than 2 hours. So kind of glad they did that. Now, to transition back to the shipwreck, because it's 90 minutes, we don't get some fleshed out storylines in here. And there is points in here where you feel like they wanted to hit on more plot points in the movie. There's one in particular with a girl that kind of just moved to the neighborhood. And it's hinted at that the son of Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor kind of has a crush on her. It seems like that. But then you could tell there was like a storyline starting to brew in here where maybe this new girl that moves to the neighborhood might have romantic feelings for Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor's daughter. You could feel it in the movie theater while you're watching it. And then it's just like, it kind of stopped. And you could tell during the movie, it was because the runtime was so short. They had no time to really put another storyline in this movie because of the runtime. And it felt very forced. It was very weird. There's a scene where like the daughter is crying because something happens in this film. And like this girl's supposed to be comforting her, but she's like smiling while this girl is sobbing. It was like, what are we doing? I found that very, very weird. And it was just, is again, another thing in this movie where it just felt out of place, and this movie just has no identity. So there's so much stuff being thrown at the wall, and most of it really doesn't stick. Going into my rating, like, there are a lot of things in this movie, for me personally, what I like in movies and stuff to happen, where you would think this would be one that I just probably trash. But however, I found myself while I was sitting through this movie, oddly enough, I was enjoying myself while watching it. Now, by no means is this a good film. It's not. I'll be honest, you don't have to see this in theater. This would be a perfectly fine wait till it comes on like Amazon Prime or something, or on a streaming platform, and you just want to kick back, shut your brain off, and just watch some dinos wreak havoc. You'll get that. It's definitely one of those movies you could do like some cleaning in the background, or do something in the background and not really pay attention to the plot and just get through it. For kids and children, when they get to that age where, especially if you have sons, a lot of, I know boys, they love dinosaurs. I was at that age at one point where I was just obsessed with dinosaurs. Jurassic Park came out, like, yeah, all the rage. So you will get some of that. But overall, I gotta say, it's just an average film. I could see the arguments for people who hate this movie and think it's like a terrible movie. I will see your viewpoint. I understand. So when I'm going to give my rating, I've been stuck around like the anywhere between like a 4.8 to 5.2 range is what I felt when I left the theater, and thinking upon it overnight and doing this review. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to land at the end of Oak Street at a 5.2. If I had one word to describe this movie, it probably wouldn't even be a word. It'd be a sound, and that is meh. It's average. I actually enjoyed it more than what I thought I was going to. Especially upon like the first 10 minutes, I was like, I don't know what this movie is, and it took me out, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this. But surprisingly, I enjoyed it throughout. It's not a good film, very average. Would not spend money to see this in theaters. So yeah, end of Oak Street, 5.2. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Kota's Cove. We've got more videos on the way. I have my X-Men 97 Season 2 review with Radio Slate coming on up during the weekend, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for that. If you want to go ahead and watch some more content about me talking about dinos, you can go and head over to my review for Jurassic World Rebirth and see me really start to go on some rants about a movie. So if you enjoy that type of content, you like seeing some passionate energy in a review, go check out that video. If you like the content, leave a like, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. Come on down to the Cove because the water is fine.